While fans of Pawn Stars might watch the show to see some of the coolest antique and unique items out there, many of us love their amazing negotiating abilities too. Although the Pawn Stars' expertise and negotiation skills are often impressive, there have been instances where they ended up paying significantly more than they anticipated. In this video, we will explore some of these instances. Let's dive right in. Starting off at number 10, it's when Corey bought fake Rolexes. When Corey first started getting into the family business, he was pretty young. Word of this probably spread around town because it was during this time that he made one of the worst purchases of his career. Corey ended up buying 6 fake Rolexes in a single week. He stated that after he bought the first one, people probably picked up on the fact that he was easy to fool. Mostly, he didn't have the experience yet. And so, more and more people showed up with fake Rolexes, and in the end, he had half a dozen worthless Rolexes. That's quite a costly mistake, especially for someone just starting, but it seems that it taught him to be a bit more cautious when sealing the deals, especially during night shifts. Next on the list at number 9 is Vic Flick's guitar. In one of the episodes, Rick was approached by studio musician Vic Flick. The English guitarist is known for having worked with several well-known personalities, so his guitar seemed like it'd be worth a lot of money. This is especially true when you consider that Vic has worked on the soundtrack of several James Bond movies. Because of Vic's amazing discography, Rick eventually decided to drop around $55,000 on the instrument, though despite all this, it seems that the guitar ultimately didn't have that much value attached to it. The Roland TR-808 drum machine is known for its use in creating numerous influential music tracks, but its value has significantly decreased since it was sold for $25,000 at an auction in 2014. This decrease in value is likely due to a variety of factors. While Vic might have collaborated with a bunch of rock stars, the truth is that his name itself just doesn't have the same star power. And even he himself knew this. After he sealed the deal with Rick, he walked out and said he was surprised that he managed to get $55,000 for the guitar. He thought he'd get something in the 30s. Maybe Rick just bought into the hype. Plus at number 8, it's the time a man brought Rick some diamond earrings. Harrison's distrust of diamonds is no secret. He said before that diamonds are the worst enemies of pawn shops. He added that it's pretty easy to get screwed over by fake diamonds, and in this case, Rick was speaking from personal experience. During a History Channel segment, Harrison stated that once, a man showed up at the shop in a fancy suit looking to pawn some diamond earrings. Harrison questioned the man on important details about the diamond earrings, and mostly it seemed like there wasn't anything suspicious going on, and so Rick gave the man $40,000 for the earrings. Though, as he'd soon learn, this was a huge mistake. Just 3 days later, the cops showed up at the pawn shop. The diamond earrings were actually stolen and given back to the woman they'd been stolen from. The silver lining in all this was that the man had been arrested. Still, Rick lost all the $40,000 he spent on the transaction, making it one of the worst transactions ever. We can totally see why he's so wary of getting diamond jewelry. Moving on to number 7, it's the Grandpa Cyclops art print. In one of the episodes, a customer brought Rick a mirrored symmetrical photo. The result showed an old man who looked like a Cyclops with just a single eye and no mouth. While something like this may be simple to do nowadays with your phone, the vintage style and the way the picture was produced added quite a bit of value to it. Not just that, but it was also made by an artist who had quite a bit of name recognition. After an expert was brought in, Rick decided to drop around $625 on the framed print. Harrison's personal profit margin was around $175 to $375. However, the seller got the biggest win of the night. She later revealed that the artwork only cost her around $15, so even if Rick managed to get the highest possible profit from the purchase, he'd still be walking out with much less money than the original owner did. Next up at number 6, it's Shoeless Joe Jackson's fake. Joe Jackson ranks among the most iconic baseball players to ever exist. In one of the episodes, a man comes into the shop saying he's got a book signed by Joe Jackson himself. Rick also clarified that Joe was illiterate, so having his actual signature is an incredibly rare thing. This makes it the rarest sports signature of all time. Because of this, Harrison decided not to call in an expert and instead chose to trust the certificate of authenticity provided by the seller. He paid almost $13,000 for the signed book, though he later learned that the book was almost certainly a fake. Harrison later stated that while $13,000 is a lot of money, he took the gamble because a once-in-a-lifetime kind of deal like this shouldn't be ignored. That said, considering it turned out to be a fake, we definitely think he should have have considered his options more thoroughly. For our number 5 spot, it's the Wells Fargo Strongbox. Just when you thought Rick may have learned his lesson to not buy things without making sure an expert checks them out, he makes the same mistake. Before buying the Shoeless Joe Jackson book, Rick actually bought a Wells Fargo Strongbox that turned out to be a fake. In this episode, a seller came in with his antique Strongbox. Inside of it were some old prison chains. The prison was notorious for having tough conditions. Harrison checked the ball and chain and figured out they were fake, but after closely examining the lockbox, he didn't find anything that made it appear as though it was also fake. Though he should have just gone with his gut, as it turns out, even the Strongbox was a complete fake, as stated by an expert who was brought in to analyze it after Harrison had already sealed the deal. The expert literally started off by asking, "First things first, have you already bought this?" That was enough to tell Rick he'd made a very big and costly mistake. At number 4, it's the Willie Mays uniform. Another one of Corey's blunders is when he buys a fake Willie Mays uniform. The uniform was said to be a game-worn one from 1961, however, some obvious red flags should have tipped Corey off to the fact that this wasn't the real deal. For starters, the quality of the uniform was extremely tidy and pristine. For something that was worn and has existed since 1961, you'd think it would have a few signs of reduced quality. This is especially true considering Mays loved to slide across the dirt and grass. The seller didn't have any authentication papers either, which only added to the fact that this uniform was extremely shady. Despite all this, they got it, which was a huge mistake. The uniform only sold for around $19,200 in an auction around 2 years later. Later, it was discovered that Mays hadn't ever worn the uniform because he didn't even own it. This outright destroyed any sort of value that it might have otherwise had. Moving on to number 3, we've got Underground Railroad sketches. The Pawn Stars once acquired a set of Underground Railroad sketches that seemed significant due to their historical value. The seller assured the authenticity of the sketches, stating that they were signed by the newspaper editor who had commissioned the book. However, this purchase ended up causing problems for the Pawn Stars later on. The book was printed in a small batch, making it even rarer than it appeared at first glance, and considering its age, it wasn't even that bad of a shape. The expert said it'd be fair to price it around $1,250. Harrison managed to bring it down to $700, and both the seller and Rick seemed happy with the purchase. The seller was the one who got the better end of the deal because he got the book for just $2. Now that's a great return on investment. For our number 2 spot, it's cubic zirconia. In the 1970s, when cubic zirconia first hit the market, Richard lost around $30,000. These synthetic rocks looked and tested just the same as diamonds did, and people would walk in and try to have them pawned, claiming they had diamonds. While it was a heavy loss, Richard still considers it to be a lesson learned, but we can't help but think this was one expensive lesson. Thankfully, because of this experience, just about everyone at the Pawn Stars has gotten super good at identifying fake diamonds and cubic zirconia now. Finally, at number 1, we've got their auction losses. When the Pawn Stars fail at trying to pawn off an item in a certain time period, they send it to the auction. Some items like Vic Flick's guitar have been sent to auction over the years, though it's not the only one that failed to turn a profit. On a special episode, Rick experienced significant financial losses at an auction when he sold several high-priced items. One motorcycle cost him approximately $29,000 by itself. This was a tough blow, and combined with other losses from that day, it became one of the most challenging moments Rick faced on the show. But that's a wrap for this video, my friends. Which of these moments from the Pawn Stars did you think screwed them over the most? Please comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.